Hey guys, today we are starting to look at our finance unit and we're going to start by talking about interest. Today we're going to look at simple interest. So let's talk about what simple interest is. It is the amount of money paid or earned for the use of the money. It's an additional amount. So usually you'll hear about interest when people invest or save their money and then people borrow that money and then they get a percentage back. Or if you borrow money, if you take out a loan, then you're going to have to pay interest back on that, basically a charge for using the money. So it's just this additional amount of money whenever someone borrows the money, and it gets added back onto what you originally borrowed. What you originally borrowed or invested is called the principal. You'll hear it called the original or the initial amount. And then the interest rate is going to be represented by R. That's a percentage of the money that is paid on top of the principal. We're going to write it as a decimal in our formulas. And time is how long the money was invested or borrowed. In the simple interest formula, we are going to put it in years. So if the problem tells us that it's in month, we will have to divide by 12. Okay, so here's our this is the simple interest formula right here. I equals PRT. I is the interest, that is the dollar amount earned or charged. P is the principal or the original initial amount of money. R is that rate. They're going to give it to you as a percentage. You have to change it to a decimal. And then T is time in years. So to find the interest, you will just do the principal times the rate times the time. So if it asks for interest earned, this is what you will do. Sometimes it will want the total amount though, which is the interest and the principal together. So you will take the interest that you earned and add the principal to find the total amount. So we're going to use these two formulas to answer a few questions. One thing I like to do is write out the variables. I equals P R T, and then A. Sometimes we will use A, sometimes we won't. All I did right now was write out the variables, and then that will help me figure out what I'm missing. Okay, so number one says find the simple interest for $500 invested at 6.25% for 3 years. So it is asking us to find the simple interest. It's asking for I. They gave us what they originally invested, $500, that's the principal. And then the rate is 6.25%. which as a decimal, remember you can divide that by 100. Or you can just move the decimal point back twice. Either way, that decimal is going to be 0.0625. And then it says for 3 years. And then this one is not asking for the total amount, so we don't have to worry about it. Okay, so let's look at our formulas. I equals PRT. I have P, R, and T, and it was asking for I. So that formula will work perfectly. So I equals PRT. To find the interest, I will do my principal of 500 times the rate of 0.0625 times my time of 3 years. So 500 times 0.0625 times 3 is $93.75. So that's how much interest would be earned on that $500 at the end of 3 years. All right, let's look at number two. Before I read it, I'm going to write out my variables so I can fill in what they gave me and what they're asking for. It says find the total amount. So this time it is asking for A. In a bank account, if $80 was deposited, so there's our principal amount, 80, with a simple interest rate of 6% for 10 months. Okay, so let's do some converting here. 6% is going to change to 0.06 as a decimal. You can divide it by 100 or just think about that decimal point moving back twice. And then they told me 10 months. So I have to divide by 12 to figure out the years, because remember the formula is in years. So 10 divided by 12 is a repeating decimal, so I'm going to change it to a fraction to keep my numbers exact. So 5/6. Okay, so let's look at our formulas. They're asking for total amount. In order to find the total amount, I need the interest and the principal. I have the principal, but I don't have the interest. So let's find the interest first with I equals PRT, and then we will add the principal back to it. So even though this one is asking for the total amount, I'm going to have to find the interest first. So we're going to find the interest first by doing I equals PRT. So it'll be I equals, the principal was 80, times my rate of 0.06, times the time of 5/6. And let's figure out what the interest on this account would be. 80 times 0.06 times 5/6 is 4. So they earned $4 in interest after 10 months. But remember, the question was asking for the total amount. And to find the total amount, I do the interest plus the principal. Now I can do this since I have the interest. The interest is $4. So the total amount will be the $4 interest plus the principal of $80, which is $84. All right, let's look at number 3. Well, before we read it, let's write out our variables. It says find the simple interest. So it's asking for interest this time. For $1,000 borrowed, that's my principal, at a rate of 5.5% for 18 months. So it's asking for interest. I don't need to find the total amount this time. Before I can plug into my formula, I need to do some converting. So 5.5%, I need to change it to a decimal, and I get 0.055. And then 18 months, let's divide that by 12 to figure out the number of years. It's 1.5. I'm going to keep it as a decimal this time since it is terminating. Okay, now I'm going to use my formula, I equals PRT, to find the interest. So the interest will be the principal of $1,000 times the rate of 0.055 times the time of 1.5 months. So the interest is 1,000 times 0.055 times 1.5, and we get $82.50. All right, number 4, a loan of $770 is taken out at a 16% simple interest rate for 6 months. What is the total amount that will be paid? So the initial amount was $770. The rate is 16%, and then they say 6 months, and then it is asking for the total amount. In order to find the total amount, I'm going to need the interest on that loan though. So I'll have to find the interest first, and then I'll find the total amount. So the first thing we will do is I equals PRT. Let's do some converting before we plug in. So 16% is 0.16, and 6 months is 0.5. So to find the interest, I will do 770 times the rate of 0.16 times my time of 0.5. So the interest is 770 times 0.16 times 0.5. and I get $61.60. That is the interest. Remember, this one was asking for total amount, so we are not done yet. To find the total amount, remember, I do the interest plus the principal. So I have the interest now. It was $61.60, and now I have to add the principal of $770 back to it. So 61.60 plus 770 is $831.60. That's the total amount they would pay. All right, let's look at number 5. Jerry wants to buy a new car but doesn't have enough money, so he's going to take out a loan. Option A is a $7,500 car with a 2-year 11% simple interest loan. Option B is a $10,000 car with a 3-year 8% interest loan. Which loan will be a better deal? So we need to look at the total amount on both of these loans, because he's going to have to pay back the principal plus the interest that they're going to charge him for the money being borrowed. So let's find the total amount of both of them. Let's start with option A. So option A, I'm going to write out all my variables, I, P, R, T, and then total amount. So option A, the principal is $7,500. And the rate is 11%. And the time is 2 years. So I need to find the total amount, but that means I have to find the interest first. So I'm going to do I equals PRT to find the interest first. Don't forget to convert. 11% is 0.11 as a decimal. 2 years, we're good. We don't have to convert it. Okay, so principal is $7,500. The rate is 0.11 and the time is 2 years for option A. So let's find the interest on option A. So 7,500 times 0.11 times 2 is $1,650. So that is the interest on option A, but I want to know the total cost, so I need to do the interest plus the principal now. So the interest is $1,650, the principal is $7,500. I'm going to add those together to determine the total amount. So $1,650 plus the principal of $7,500 is $9,150. So the total amount of loan A is $9,150. Let's look at option B. So option B, I'm also going to want to find the total amount. So let's write out the variables. I want the total amount. I'll have to find the interest first. So it says option B is a $10,000 car loan with a 3-year 8% interest loan. So now let's find the total amount for option B, and then we can compare the two of them. So first I need to start by finding the interest. I equals PRT. So it's I equals 10,000 times, the rate would be 0.08 for 8%, times the time of 3 years. So let's multiply that together to find the interest for this loan. So 10,000 times 0.08 times 3 is $2,400. So the total interest on this loan is $2,400. But remember, we want the total amount. So now I need to add the interest and the principal together. The interest is $2,400. The principal is $10,000. So that makes the total amount $12,400. So now I have both amounts, and we can see that option A is a better deal because it costs less overall. Option A was only $9,150 and option B was $12,400. So option A, that car loan, is going to be a better deal. All right, let's look at number 6. Let's write out our variables before we read it. It says Miss Douglas invests $200, so there's our principal, into a savings account for 5 years. There's our time. She earns $50 in simple interest. So this time they gave us the interest. It's $50. What was the simple interest rate of the account? So this time they are asking us to find the rate. So let's go look back at our formulas. Remember, we have I equals PRT and we have A equals I plus P. So they're asking me to find the rate, which is in this formula, and they gave me interest, principal, and time. So I will just need to use this formula, but I'm going to have to set up an equation and solve. So we can cross out A because we won't need that. And let's write down our simple interest formula. I equals PRT, and let's substitute in what we have. We know the interest this time, it's $50, equals the principal is 200 times, we don't know what the rate is, so I'm going to leave it as R since that's what we're looking for, times the time was 5 years. Okay, remember whenever we are solving an equation, we want to simplify first. So I'm going to multiply the 200 and the 5 together now. And that will be the new coefficient of R. And 200 times 5 is 1,000. So this equation becomes 50 equals 1,000 R. And now I'm going to divide by 1,000. And that will tell me the rate. So 50 divided by 1,000 is 0.05. So the rate is 0.05, which, remember, when it's in our formula, we write it as a decimal. But if we're talking about the rate, we write it as a percentage. So that would be 5%. And if you're unsure of how to convert it, you do it backwards. You multiply by 100. So 5% would be the rate there. Okay, last one. It says Oliver buys a $20,000 car. He takes out a loan for 4.7% interest. The total amount he pays back for the loan is $25,640. What length of time was the loan that Oliver borrowed? So write out our variables. They are asking for time in this one. So let's go back through and see what they gave us. The car was $20,000, so that's our principal. The rate was 4.7%, which I have to convert that to 0.047. They don't tell me the interest, but they do tell me the total amount. It was $25,640. So remember, interest is the extra on the principal. So to find the interest, I can take the total amount and subtract out the principal, and that will tell me the interest. So the interest will be whatever 25,640 minus 20,000 is. And that is $500 or 5,640. Okay, so it's asking for t. I can set up my equation with I equals PRT. I have I, PRT, I have I, P, and R, and now I can solve for t. So we found the interest, it was 5,640. The principal is 20,000 times the rate of 0.047 times time, because that's what I'm looking for. Same thing as last time, we want to simplify by multiplying first. So this will stay the same at 5,640. And 20,000 times 0.047 is 940 times t, and then I divide by 940 to determine t, the number of years. And 5,640 divided by 940 is 6. So what was the length of time of the loan? It was 6 years.